Hello everyone, welcome again. Welcome to Mahali Mzuri Conservancy. Welcome to Mahali Mzuri. This is Sofasafari. I am Jackson, my cameraman is Gideon. We are with John and Levi. It's another beautiful day today. We just kick off on our afternoon game drive. Actually on my background we have a group of hippos here. So it's such a great time. You can see them right down on the pool. They're just having a bit of a time, relaxing in the water. This is one of the pools they normally like to stay. The hippos are one of the most dangerous animals we have around. They are purely grazers. You can see them. They're just having a bit of a time, although they are very strictly nocturnal. So this is the time for them to relax. Definitely at night they come out, they eat the grass all night, and then they come back very early in the morning back to the river. So one of the main reasons why they do that is because of their skins are very sensitive. So whenever they expose them to the sun, they can get some sunburns. So that's one of the things that make them to stay in the water, so that they can protect their skin. You can actually hear their sounds. A hippo can hold their breath for 5 minutes, and then they need to push out the nose and breathe. So a group of hippos like this, we call it a raft of hippos. They look very interesting animals. They're very closely related to whales, and they're pure grazers. These are some of the animals that are much affected by the drought, especially when we're having a bit of a longer drought. The hippos can get skinny and skinny because they just depend on grass. All this year, plenty of food around, have a lot of grass. And whenever you drive along, you can see they can have some kind of a trail. They make like a bit of a trail whenever they have an exit and an entrance every time they come back to the river. You can hear some sounds. Those are the Egyptian geese. This is one of the most dangerous animals we have. They kill many people than anything else or than any animal. And one of the reasons is because they don't like the smell, so they tend to be more aggressive. So the males tend to be very territorial. So it happened that one dominant male is dominating all of this pool, and then the rest are females and young ones. Sorry guys, it was a little bit of a problem of a signal. So the males tend to be very territorial for the hippos. So in case any male tried to come in here, they would definitely have a big fight, because it can only allow females and young ones to stay within this pool. So definitely within this river we have some fish as well, some lungfish, catfish and mudfish along these rivers, because there's plenty of algae to feed on. Some crocodiles are there as well, although the crocodiles, it's a little bit chilly now, so definitely the crocodiles will stay in the water. Mostly in the middle of the day when it's quite hot and warm, you might find the crocodiles along the bank of the river. They look a little bit skittish. You can see they're just pushing their heads up, they go down again. This is how they do. I think precisely because we are just right here. That's why you see them, they're just a little bit hiding their heads. But in some point you might come sometime across them when they're just out of the river, busting out on the sun. And definitely when it's getting too hot, they can go down to the river. Remember, in some point you can come across them when they're out of the river. They can, they have a gland that normally produce some oily, and those glands will protect their skin from the sun. Remember, in Africa, especially in the month of January, December and January, is such of the hottest months, and a little bit drier that particular time. You can see their heads, they're just popping them out. One of the main predators for the hippos actually are lions. Lions normally wait for them to come out of the river. And it must be a pride of lion. It must be more than probably 5 lions to bring down a hippo. So normally along this river there are more than one group of hippos. So there are 7 along the river, and every group have to stay within their pool because they normally fight over territory. So every male tries to defend a certain group of females and young ones, and it will never allow any other male to come in. Wherever you see them opening or yawning, they have a big and sharp teeth. Oh, look at the little one getting up and go down again. So when you look at the position of the eyes, the position of the nose and the ears, they're all positioned on the top part of the head, so that whenever they breathe, you know, without pushing the whole head out, but they can just breathe with their nose and hearing as well they can see. So this is what they do the whole day. Definitely around 7ish. That's the time they can walk out. And so
Jackson, do these hippos stay like all the time here, or sometimes they move in a particular time of the year?
They normally stay all year around here. The only thing that makes them probably to move on is when they have less grass around, or probably the level of waters go down. But definitely this year we had a lot of rain, so we had a lot of rain, and the water along this river is full, so actually the hippos stay here all year round. All right, so we're gonna drive along and see whether we can find something else. So just stay with us. grass look taller and lushy, so it is actually the right time for the herbivores to have a very good time. This is a time for the mating season for the herbivores. Some has got already young ones. When I talk of the herbivores, I talk of the antelopes, you know, zebras, elands, all of the antelopes as well, like impalas. Whatever you see on your side, Gideon, you can see the trail of the hippos along there. That is where they used to walk out of the river and the grass. So they make a trail. Every day they used to pass there. Remember, they're very territorial, so they just used to walk along that trail. Every single time whenever you drive along and you don't see much of the animals around, it's one of the indications that will tell you that the predators might be around somewhere. So we're just trying to have a look and see whether we can find some predators along here. When I talk of the predators, I talk of the carnivorous, you know. I talk of probably it might be a lion, it might be a cheetah, or it might be hyenas. Because every single herbivore, whenever they see the predators around, they normally try to find a more secure place or a safe place for them. A little bit bumpy. Before then, this used to be a little bit of a bushes, but because of the elephants are some of the keystone species, and you can see they have just completely finished all of the trees along, and they have just created another area for plain antelope to live in. Approaching where the place we thought the lions might be. So I can see a pride of lions just in front of us. Lioness. They look a little bit skittish. You can see it's walking a little bit away. So this is part of the pride we call Secata Pride. But let me just drive a little bit back if we can find another better position. Skittish. You can see them, they're a bit running away to the bush. These are 3 females, 3 lionesses. Remember, whenever it's getting a little bit later on in the afternoon, this is the time for the lions to come out. They're trying to find some food. So they're just lying actually just on the edge of the bush. So this is the pride called Secata Pride. Although earlier on we had a big split from this pride. There was 2 male lions take over this pride, and actually the females separate. That's a big yawn. They separate, and actually those male took off, and actually they killed some cubs within the pride. And again, the males have been chased away. One of the male was killed by a buffalo. So it seemed like the pride have been having a bit of a problem. You know, there was a big split among this pride. One is getting up. Look like that one is a bit limping on his leg. Probably it's got maybe a wound. Look at the bushes. Remember, these are the orange leaves, crotons. The lions tend to be very lazy. They're lazy cats. They spend about 20 hours sleeping. It's just like our domestic cats. They can be active only like 4 hours. Mostly very early in the morning or late in the afternoon. And they are quite active whenever they are so hungry. So when it's a little bit windy like now, sometimes these cats try to find a little bit warmer place for them. So this is a little bit of a rocky outcrop, which is a bit warmer because the rocks are always warm. Remember, we have some rocks here which are volcanic rocks, as a basalts, and lions sometimes they like to stay within the rocks because it's a little bit warmer for them to stay along there. We are not far away from the river, so this is one of the routes normally the predators like to pass through. So lions sometimes can like to stay within the routes where the herbivores used to walk through. So whenever you can see a little bit of a path whereby the animals normally used to walk down to the river, and they walk up from the river. So lions like to stay with such in such places. Sometimes they just like half dead. Sometimes you might think, you know, this cat is not dangerous, but they're quite dangerous.
Jackson, do they look like they eaten recently, or they probably going to look for food?
They look a little bit hungry, but I think because the lions are very opportunistic, they might be trying to wait if they can get any chance, and definitely they will definitely grab it. especially for animals like warthogs. They might have a chance of having warthogs, especially whenever they run along here. You remember the warthogs, they have some short memory, so they might just run, and actually they forget why they're running, so they might have a good chance for such animals, warthogs or wildebeest. So they look a little bit hungry.
Do you think they are like related? They are kind of related, and that's why they hang together, or what do you think about them?
Normally the females, remember the lions, they live in prides, and when they live in prides, the related females normally live together. What I mean by that is actually the sisters can come together and form a pride of lion. So, and that is why the lions normally they have a kind of a communal circling, whereby one female can recycle all the cubs within a pride, because you'll find that sisters stay together, and definitely they will help each other in terms of hunting, in terms of raising the cubs for each other. So definitely they are related.
Okay, so you mean that not they tend to have cubs at the same time, so that they can bring them together.
Absolutely, yes.
Wow, that's good. I wish human being can do that. Beautiful.
So they're a little bit hiding.
So David is asking, is it just only three females here?
This is a pride of about 15 lions. Remember, this pride of Cicada have split it. So for the last few months, we have been just seeing these 3 females sticking together. But probably if they get a male, definitely they're gonna mate and they start another new pride. But this is part of the Cicada pride. So they're trying to hide a little bit away from us. You can see they're just getting into deeper to the bush. Remember, these are the orange leaf crotons, which are the insect repellent bush. Let me just try like a bit of another angle, so that we can see a little bit more better. So we're just trying to give a little bit of a time and see whether they will come out. John, do you think maybe more lions are inside the bush?
Yeah, could be, because there could be more than 3. Because this is kind of the area that, last night when the males were roaring, we could hear that sound that was much deeper than the female. So this morning, Gideon and I thought there could be a male around that is kind of disturbing them or wanting to join the 3 of them. So could be there is more than 3. See, when the male wants to join them, he doesn't just come straight to them. because the females are very also territorial. They also defend their territory.
Absolutely.
So the male will come slowly and pretend to be a little bit more submissive until he's kind of accepted. And then he can join, and then he can mate if the females are boisterous.
Exactly. Very true. Definitely, before the female accepts the male, it must be a little bit of a fight among the female and the male, because it is not such an easy way just the female to accept the new male coming in, especially when the females are having some young ones. Because remember, the females can lose the cubs if a new male took over. So definitely, when the lions are taking over the territories, they normally used to fight quite a lot. So it is such a powerful fight, whereby others can lose, the life, others can lose part of the body. So they normally have a very difficult time. And one thing I've observed here around this conservancy, actually, you will find the lions, they don't last much longer in the territory, because we have a high concentration of lions around here. We have, I think, more than 100 lions in this conservancy, which is a higher number for such an area. So it's a bit of a rough time for the males to stay more longer within a territory. Right, let me just try to drive a little bit around, whether we can see. Probably the male might be around there, so let us just try whether we can see if the male is around here, because we are thinking that the male might be around. So we're gonna just try and see, because it's a little bit of a thick bush around here. The lions knows very well how to camouflage. So in some point, sometimes they might be there, but very hard to find them, or very hard to see. Because generally these cats know how to hide. It's a little bit rocky. Very elusive or skittish cat. You can see how thick the bush is. See, they're still hiding. just see a glimpse of it. The bushes look very thick, but I think we have just seen a glimpse of a male inside the bushes, although it's not visible much, but it's really hiding on the dens of the bushes inside.
And actually, as Jackson explained, that if you look at them, they're all resting their head on the rock. Right now, the rock is emitting some heat, and this is especially now. This is our coldest month. We've just turned to July, which is our coldest month. So they're just curling in the bushes to warm themselves. So that also might explain the reason why they are still just curling in the bush and keeping themselves warm. Even though that they look hungry, normally this is the time they come out of the bushes, look around. But I think because of the temperature, it's a little bit cold for them. So that's why you see them, they're all lying on top of the rock. This is the time also the rock is emitting the heat from the sun that has been hitting the whole day. They look actually happy cats. Mature female. Oh, here come a yawn. Fantastic.
All right, and then we can drive along, and we can see whatever we can find. Whatever we can find along, if we can find something else. Remember, we've been quite lucky because sometimes there's predators, especially the lions, they know how to hide very well. So at some point it's really hard for us to find them. Remember this year we had a lot of rain whereby the grass are very long, and when the grass are too long here, it will make a little bit hard for the cats to be spotted.
Scenery.
Yep, it's really beautiful. So we are just now driving out of the bushes. We are getting up to the open. This is the place whereby you might see some antelopes, some tumbas as well. A little bit windy up here because it's a bit open. So there's an eagle somewhere. It is a bird of prey. Eagle. I'm thinking that it might be feeding on, looking on some rats or snakes. That's what they feed on. So that's a tawny eagle. Mostly the eagles hunt, but the vultures they scavenge. So every time you see the eagle on the ground, it might be having a meal, maybe a hunted rat or a snake. In Africa we have some snakes around. We have some cobras, the black-necked spitting cobras. We this as well and puff at us. The eagles has got such a powerful eyesight, so sometimes when they're flying over, they can see anything down on the ground.
Thank you, David.
Look, a little bit limping on his leg. Levy, can you see that? Can you see the limping on the leg?
Yeah, I can see.
All right. So we're gonna drive along again, see whether we can find.
Now look at that magnificent cloud on the
Yep.
background there. What a beautiful place.
So there is a pumba there, the warthog. So that's one of the burrow where the warthogs live. So the warthogs normally live inside there. So it's such a place where they normally hide. So the warthogs will stay there all night, and then they come out on the daytime. They eat grass the whole day, and then they come back in the evening. The Pumbaa is in the Lion King. That's a warthog. Antelopes running in front of me. So these are the impala. The impalas are there. All of them are boys club. You can see them, they're all males. So the males normally form collision. Normally the male have horns, but the female doesn't have horns. So that's one of the big difference you can differentiate. But when you look at all of them around here, you can see only the male all around here, because the male has got only horns. And whenever they fight, sometimes they can fight and they can lock their horns, which make them very difficult for them to unlock again. So if any predator is around, it's like a bonus. Buy one, get one free. They look very delicate, their legs are very tiny. And sometimes we call them McDonald's because of the M at the back. They look like M, so they look like McDonald's. So I can try to go a little bit forward. So this is the place where the animals can stay because it is such an open area whereby they can stay and they can see the predators wherever they try to come. I mean, the lions, the leopards are getting up. So it is the best time for these antelopes. This is the best place they can rest or they can stay.
Actually, just as Jackson explained, if you look at the M, you know, the M is just the 3 black markings on both thighs and the tail. If you look below it, there is also some black markings on the hind legs. That's a gland that only the impala have called, that's just showing us, called a metatarsal gland. And a metatarsal gland is actually for, if they got spooked and they run different direction, they run and jump as the impalas do. They drop their deposit from the metatarsal gland, and later they can regroup again. So nature is amazing, you know, ways that they can communicate.
Very true. It is just like, you know, some cats do as well. Remember when the lions go through an area and they have that gland, they leave on their feet. And actually, even the cubs, the younger cubs can follow where the rest of the pride went through. So the same thing happened to the antelopes, particularly for the impala. Remember, these are very special antelopes. They have a kind of a very special way they can hold their secret from not developing. Whenever they're having a bit of a harsh, you know, condition, when they have a very long drought. So mostly the females can hold up the secret from not developing until the conditions are more favorable. You know, probably whenever we have rains and probably whenever we have a bit of a more greener pastures, and then they can just release their secret to develop again, and they can have their young ones.
Yeah, actually, impala is leopard's favorite food, and the main reason is that it's one of the species called an ecotone species. It can be found within the bushes where leopards dwell, and also in the open place. So it's like it's taken himself to feed both the leopard and the cheetah in both ecosystems. Beautiful animal.
Yep, it's really beautiful. Alright, so it's such another great evening. So we are just ending our game drive. So once again, welcome. This is Mahali Mzuri Conservancy in the heart of Masai Mara. Welcome to Mahali Mzuri. I am Jackson and my cameraman is Gideon. The rest of the crew are Vincent, John and Levi. So have a good time. I hope after this issue of Corona is over, we're gonna have another beautiful time in Africa, and hope to see you back again. We see you next Wednesday. So have a good time and goodbye.